slashed to death.
With a knife?
No, it sounds crazy, but it looks like they were killed with a giant pair of scissors. The giant scissors once again search for prey. A trail of terror stretches across Europe, from Norway to England.
Here it is, the Barrows Mansion. We have to go there and look around, or we'll never solve the mystery of Scissorman.
You've got to be joking. It's way too dangerous.
As long as he's alive, we're not safe anywhere, guys.
One after another, the horrifying murders continue. Who will make it through this game of murder alive? Clock Tower.
Alrighty, folks, welcome to a very, very special Halloween Let's Play, where I am going to be playing one of the most terrifying games in my opinion, at least in my childhood, but I'm pretty sure it's still terrifying to this day. It's one of the few games that actually still legitimately creeps me out, and I actually consider this game to be the scariest game I've ever played. For several reasons, and we're about to find those reasons out when we actually start playing. But yeah, it is Halloween night. The sun just set. There's an ominous red tint to the sky today. The creatures of the night are about, asking for brains and eyeballs and guts, and it's really quite a gruesome sight. When I just look out my window, I see lots of people with horrible gashes and blood. I mean, I even saw Pyramid Head today, an assassin. I think it was Altair. Could have been Ezio. What else did I see? I saw a half-dead zombie, a witch, and it's really crazy going to an art school, I'm telling you. But anyway, nonetheless, yeah, so this is one of the scariest games I've ever played. It has an incredible atmosphere. And really, it's the second clock tower in the series, but the first one to be released in the US, so it's largely considered as Clock Tower 1. But just in case you want to know the backstory, here it is. So basically takes place in Europe about a prestigious family known as the Barrows. And they had a mansion which had a clock tower, which is where the game gets its name, and eventually they turned it into an orphanage. But yes, here you can see the mistress of the Barrows, Mrs. Barrows, gave birth to two evil demonic twins. And we've got the creepy music in the background. Sounds a lot like The Exorcist, which this game is kind of influenced by. But yeah, the twins were Bobby and Dan, and the former actually was the Scissorman of the first game. And I won't give too much away about Dan at this point, other than the fact that he was part of the first clock tower. Oh yeah, excuse me. The mansion wasn't turned into a clock tower itself. It was a girl from an orphanage. Her parents died when she was small, and yeah, I'm gonna stop pretending like I know this game because I'm not too keen on the story, but needless to say, it's a young girl named Jennifer Simpson who gets lured into this evil mansion where these evil twins go around killing each other. They're lured in by the evil mother, who, I forgot why, but she wants to kill Jennifer. But eventually Jennifer escapes, kills the mom, and apparently kills Scissorman. But as you'll see in this game, it wouldn't be the case. Now that I mention it with the story, it kind of reminds me of Friday the 13th also, with the evil mom and the demonic baby, kind of like Jason. Well, regardless of what you want to consider this game as, it has all the makings to be, you know, a really scary game, and it is a really scary game and a fitting game for Halloween. So I'm gonna stop trying to delay the inevitable. Yes, we'll get started, folks. Here goes nothing. Now, we play as several different characters in this game. In the prologue, we play as the Professor, Samuel Barton. Oh, jeez, what is this?
Professor Barton? Professor Barton? Professor Barton? What on earth are you doing, Professor? You mustn't hypnotize her like this. She's not ready to remember the murders yet.
Helen, the clock tower murders are fascinating research material for me. I must know the truth of what happened.
She can't take any more of this today, Professor. I'm taking her home.
All right. But remember one thing, Helen. You may be her guardian, but you are also my assistant.
Yes, Professor.
Now, upon first glance, you may think Jennifer is deaf by the amount of hand motions that Mr. Samuel Barton is performing, but really this game is pretty outdated, as you can see. It's very old. It's not even old school. It goes beyond that. It's a very unique game. It kind of feels like a computer game, really, because you even got the mouse, which you basically use to move around. It's really unique, but I think it really adds to the atmosphere and to the tension of the game. But as you can see, it does suffer from the other things that old games suffer from. In particular, its terrible voice acting and the cheesy dialogue. This could possibly be the only game that has worse voice acting than the original Resident Evil, and that's saying something. I would love to hear Barry and Mr. Barton have an intellectual conversation. That would really amuse me. But nonetheless, it's still a great game. Replica of the scissors used by the murderer. Alright, so basically our goal is to investigate everything, find out different clues. We're trying to find out what happened in the original clock tower murder case. And here's a memo, and it's interesting. There are these random memos that you can find all throughout the game, throughout different stories, which actually give you hints in the game, in the main menu. Sometimes they help progress the story, sometimes they just give you a little helpful hint in case you get yourself into a little pickle. But yeah, they're quite interesting to read. They used to scare the hell out of me for some reason. This whole game just scares the hell out of me. So anyway, that's the story. Mr. Samuel Barton is trying to hypnotize young Jennifer so he can have some fun with her when Helen leaves. But no, really he's trying to figure out what happened during that clock tower incident in 1995, which Jennifer is one of only 2 of the survivors from that incident. So he's obviously a psychologist, or psychiatrist maybe. He's one of the 2, I don't know. And he's psychoanalyzing her. He wants to find out more about her, find out more about this fascinating murderer, as he calls him. And that's really an interesting point and an important point for later on in the game. Because they do say that, you know, the further you look into the abyss, something like the abyss stares back at you, meaning you become as evil as the people you look into. And I'll try not to spoil too much, but it's really interesting what happens to this guy in one scenario, because there are 2 scenarios possible. I'll go over that later. But yeah, right now it's just a prologue, so nothing bad's gonna happen. Basically just investigating, going about my everyday professor business, wearing my blue tie, or not blue tie, my blue suit with a green tie. Seriously, I mean, do these guys have any sense of style? Oh yeah, definitely. He's definitely getting a date tonight with this young lady. You know, Helen and Jennifer are really beginning to look like sisters, aren't they? Nothing at all like sisters. One of them has blonde hair, one of them has brown hair, one of them's like 30 years old, the other one's jailbait. I mean, seriously? They don't even dress alike. Oh well. I guess that's what happens when you live together. Ooh. Jennifer and Helen alone. One mustn't let their personal feelings get in the way. Jennifer is nothing more than another research subject and another body I can perform my various techniques on. Well, Mr. Barton, a very creepy man indeed. Seems like an old perverted pedophile for some reason. That's just what he strikes me as. But anyway, yes, this statue is actually really important also. It's one of the items found at the clock tower scene from the original murders. But as you'll see, this is gonna come into play a lot later on in the game. And as you can see, this mask right here. No, it is not a Friday the 13th mask. It is actually a replica of the mask used by the Scissor Man murderer. It seems to be fairly popular. Stupid things. Yeah, you tell me people buy stupid things. What's this random dude just standing here for? A newspaper reporter is here. Danny? Seriously? Appointment for an interview. Clock Tower Murders, isn't it? I guess they want to sensationalize this scissor man who really doesn't exist. Well, someone's quite an atheist. Scissor man's cool, it'll be real. Huh? I've got my eye on you, Danny. Scissor man being cool? Someone who slashes little girls in the stomach and spills their guts out is cool? I have my eyes on you, buddy. Okay, now, like I said, this game is really unique. It's a completely new system for any other game. You actually have to examine everything as much as you can before you leave a room, or it won't let you. And while you're out exploring, the characters don't actually have any voiceover, just these incredibly annoying hand gestures and written dialogue. So it's gonna get repetitive, but I'm gonna do my best to either keep it entertaining or just edit it out and cut to the important parts. But I think that's all we need to do in his office. And what a staff, seriously. What kind of staff is that? And see, there's still something I need to do. I mean, you got Fruity Pebble over here dressed in a, looks like a pink shirt and a silver vest over it. I mean, seriously, what kind of sense of style do these people have? Even Beth is, wow. Granted, this game was made in the 90s, but these guys are dressed more like during the goddamn hippie age. Even then, they'd probably get laughed at. Harris has gone somewhere? Harris's desk is empty. Where could this Harris fella be? And we get a lovely front shot of Professor Barton. And we just get a random goofball standing in the middle right in front of the girls' bathroom. Jeez. Oh, Professor. A newspaper reporter was looking for you on the first floor. Was he now? Oh, thank you. Okay. Now, this is an important part right here. Depending on the number of times you talk with Harris, that decides on who you'll be playing as for the rest of the game.